Hello, welcome, my friends. Happy full moon. Oh my goodness. We have arrived. It is the full moon in Taurus. It is also a lunar eclipse. There is so much going on right now. I'm going to take just a minute as people gather, as we gather our things. As you're ready to join me, you will want to have 2 blocks and a blanket or pillow of some sort. So go ahead and grab those as we get settled in. If you're watching on either YouTube or Facebook, the Awakened Yoga Collective, just leave a comment. Let me know that you're here. It's hard for me to see it in real time because I use StreamYard, but I will respond afterwards. Let me know that you're here. Let me know where you're watching from. I would love to get to know you a little bit more through the comments. So if you're new, welcome. My name is Chris Batzner. I am the creator and curator of the Awakened Yoga Collective, and we do these practices every month. We have a full moon practice every month honoring the energies that arise and flow around us. And if you are part of my Yoga with Chris community, we do new moon practices as well. If you want more information, you can find that at my website, simply chrisbatzner.com. So as we get settled in, I'm so glad you're all here. I will not spend too much time talking about the full moon tonight. I want to get right to our practice. This is a full moon in Taurus. It is the hunter's moon. If you want to know more about what's going on, find my other video. I will try and link to it in the description here that talks about the energies. It's about 7 minutes long, talks about the energies of the full moon. You can learn more there. Now let's get started, shall we? Go ahead and make sure you grab your 2 blocks or books or water bottles or whatever you want, and a blanket or a pillow. Those are the things you need. And then we will begin tonight in child's pose. That's not normally where we begin, my friends. So knees nice and wide, big toes touch, settling back on the heels, and then just walk ourselves forward. Let our forehead rest on the earth. If we're tight and this is uncomfortable for us, just simply come to our forearms, maybe tuck some blankets under our hips. Maybe we sit on a block. Maybe we put a block under our head. There's all sorts of options. If this doesn't feel good, we can take an easy seated forward fold right here. But I want us to tune in and to settle in a closed, comforted, safe position. Whether it's a forward fold or child's pose, it's up to you. Start to feel the breath move in the body. Notice the breath move into the back, into the hips, down the spine. Let the eyes close or the gaze soften and really turn inwards to ourselves today. Noticing the body fill with breath, and then release anything that's ready to go as you exhale. Feel the body grow heavier in this child's pose or forward fold. And let your muscles soften into this place of rest. Making any adjustments as they arise, as you need them, as you notice that you need them. Not requiring yourself to stay in any position if it feels uncomfortable or isn't working for your body. I give you full permission to move, to shift, to change, to find your own practice here. Maybe walk the arms a little bit further forward. Maybe press into the hands so the hips get heavy. And then gently rise up to hands and knees, all fours. Patting up the knees if you'd like. Let's walk our hands a little bit in front of our shoulders. Draw the belly to the spine, and we'll start to make circles with our whole body. So these are slow, luscious movements. Our eyes can close again. Really feel into this. Taking your time with this. And we're going to go in one direction. So we're not going to switch. There will come a point where your monkey mind wants to have you move. It'll tell you that you're doing it wrong. You are not doing it wrong. You are doing it exactly the way it is meant to be. Continue in this one direction a little bit longer. One more circle right here. And then come back to all fours, hands and knees. We'll take our right leg straight back, toes to the mat. Press into the earth. Notice if that right hip lifts. We want to keep it even. Good. Walk our hands back a little bit so they're underneath our shoulders. And then as we inhale, that right leg lifts into the air. Belly draws in. Option to just stay here and breathe. We want to add a little bit of movement. We'll exhale, bend our elbows as if we're bowing towards the earth. Our leg lifts and extends. Inhale, come back up to where we began. Leg stays lifted. Exhale, elbows bend, drawing towards our ribs as we bring our forehead towards the earth. Inhale, back up. One more. Exhale, bowing down, lift that heel. Good. Inhale, back up. As we exhale, bring the foot to the side, plant it on the earth. So my foot is grounded. You can't really see it. Let me move back a little bit. I can either be on the edge of my foot or the sole of my foot, depending on how that feels in your ankle. Our hands come back underneath our shoulders. We'll let that right hip sink, get that nice inner thigh stretch. And again, we can stay right here, or maybe we walk ourselves to a puppy pose. So our hands walk forward. Maybe we just simply come to the forearms. Think about flaring the sit bones. Maybe we walk our hands forward and bring our forehead or our chin towards the earth. If our arms need to spread wider, they sure can. Find your place. Just a few breaths wherever you end up. Good, and then walk the hands back up so their wrists are under the shoulders. Draw the belly to the spine, float the foot into the air and extend it behind, toes to the mat. Straight leg on the right side. Option to just stay here, pressing into the calf, or we take a little twist. So the opposite hand, the left hand, my right leg is long, my left hand is going to take it, lift, and reach underneath. My head and shoulder will come to the earth. This may be where you tuck a blanket underneath you. Let that right hip drop and press into that right foot that's extended behind us. Just a few breaths right here. This may be a wobbly place. Just roll with it, embrace the wobbles. Find the strength to find balance and keep the breath flowing. Good, press into that right hand. Slowly unravel the body, coming back to all fours. Release the knee. Take a few cat and cows, inhaling to drop the belly, tailbone and heart will open. Exhale to arch the back, tuck the chin and the tailbone. Couple more on your own breath. Everything we're doing here today is slow and mindful. It's anchored to the earth and it grounds us. Good, and then very gently take the knees wide, big toes touch. Settle back into child's pose or come to that seated forward fold again. Reconnect with the breath. Reconnect with the body. Maybe our hands come beside us in child's pose, reaching back for our feet, our heels. It's another option just to connect in a different way. Good, and then when we're ready, we'll come back to hands and knees. I'm going to turn myself so you can have a different version of this. From hands and knees, the arms walk a little bit forward so our wrists are in front of our shoulders, and we start to make circles the opposite direction. And if you don't remember what that is, don't think about it. Just start to move your body and then go the opposite way. Full body circles here. Let the hips get involved. Let the shoulders get involved. Really feel this fluidity while we are anchoring to the earth. Slow and steady. This is not a race. And just like before, we stay in one direction. So we're not going to switch directions. One more. Really taking your time. And then come back up to center. Walk the hands back underneath our shoulders. And our left leg extends behind us. Toes to the mat. Press into the heel for a moment. Draw the belly up and in. And then inhale that leg into the air. You can't really see it, but it's lifted. Draw the belly in. Option to stay right here, breathing, really focusing on dropping that left hip. Or we can go a little deeper as we exhale, bend the elbows towards the ribs. We bow towards the earth. That left foot lifts. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, really lift. Last one. Coming back up. As we exhale, the foot opens to the side, planting on the earth. You decide what version. Maybe the ankle stays squared. Maybe the sole of the foot comes to the mat. Drop the left foot, hip, or hoof, however you want to think about it. Breathe here for a moment, getting that nice inner thigh stretch. Option to remain right here, or we walk ourselves forward to that puppy pose. Maybe we come to the forearms and flare the sit bones. Maybe we walk ourselves forward. No matter where you are, think about flaring the sit bones. Think about keeping the hips heavy and melting the heart. Just a few more breaths. And then we walk ourselves back up, hands coming underneath the shoulders. Draw the belly to the spine. Float that left leg in the air and extend it behind us. Bring the toes to the mat. So my leg is still straight. Press into the heel for a moment. Option to remain right here. Or we thread the needle. So my left leg is extended, my right arm lifts and tucks under, reaching towards the left. Keep breathing. This can be, again, a wobbly place. Press into the foot. Press into the left hand. Support the head and shoulders with a pillow or a blanket. And then we inhale, press ourselves back up to all fours. Drop the left knee. And once again, we settle into child's pose, but this time keep the knees hip distance, maybe a little bit wider, so we don't spread our knees nice and wide. Draw the belly up in and fold over your own lap. This is a place where I like to support my head with a block or hand because it's compressive. It's hard to breathe here, presses into my belly. Just a few breaths right here. On an inhale, lift our head and shoulders, stay in that child's pose. Walk our hands to the right. Let our hips slide to the left and then drop our head back down. So we're getting that nice side body stretch in the left side. Breathe here. If we want to go a little deeper, this right hand can reach back for our foot or our hip. Just extends that side bend a little bit more. Go ahead and then inhale back to center. Take a moment, even everything back out, and then we'll walk our hands to the left, hips fall to the right, and our head releases back down. Imagine the breath moving into those right ribs. Option to take that left hand towards the feet, just to move a little deeper. Option, not necessity. Good, and then unwind, coming back to center, even everything back out. This time we spread our knees wide and we melt our belly between our thighs, moving into child's pose. Just a few breaths. Feel that release that comes from that version of child's pose, right? As we're ready, we'll rise up. I'm going to flip myself around to all fours. When we're here, we'll bring that right foot forward between our hands. If you want to pad up the back knee, you sure can. As we exhale, sink the hips. This may be where you grab blocks underneath the hands. Our knee stays grounded in that back leg. I want to just take a moment here, little pulses, exhaling to lower the hips, inhale to release, exhale, inhale, exhale. It's slow and mindful. We're not like breath of firing our hips into this or anything. Just feeling the depth of the stretch here. Good. And when we find a place kind of in between those two spots, take our hands to our front thigh. Notice how I came out of my lunge to rise up and then get to go back in. Maybe not as far. Shoulders out of the ears. So my left hand, which is the opposite hand of my front knee, comes to the outside. Palm faces open. Right hand comes to my hip. As we exhale, this arm slides down the outside of that leg. And then I turn my gaze over that right shoulder. Maybe I reach back, but if it doesn't feel good on the shoulder, just keep your hand at your hip. Couple of breaths, looking back, looking over our shoulder, looking at the past. Gently unwind, keep the hips where they are, hands come to our heart. Lift the heart into the hands, drop the shoulders, bringing ourselves to the present. Feel the breath. And then release the hands, grab blocks, straighten the right leg. So I like to take my blocks with me and walk that right heel forward. Toes lift to the sky. So we're flexing our foot. Flare the sit bone, draw the belly in, press the hips back, but keep them stacked over the knee, that left knee. And then we fold forward. Say hello to your hamstrings. Feel the length of the spine. Feel the engagement of the abdominals, the press back of the hips. Notice the breath. Good. Inhale, rise back up a little bit, bend the knee. Take both hands and your props inside that right foot. Heel, toe it nice and wide, and then straighten that leg again. Good. So now both of my hands are on blocks and they're inside my legs. Flex the right foot, flare the sit bones, and then as we exhale, we fold again. In this place, I don't really need my blocks, but that's okay if you do. Listen to your body. Again, flare the sit bones towards the back of the room. And we're folding straight forward, I should say that. We're not folding over that leg that we moved wide. Good, rise back up. Keep the leg wide, bend the knee. So we're coming back into a lunge, but our right leg is wide. My hands are inside the front foot. Good, sink the hips, lift the heart. Turn the toes slightly out at an angle. Option to stay here, or maybe we bring our forearms to those blocks or even the earth. You get to decide. The thing I don't want is us to curl into ourselves. I want us to be able to stay long and extended, right? In this Taurus moon, this energy paired with Scorpio, there's a lot of Scorpio involved. We often hide from that shadow, hide from that uncomfortableness. This is an opportunity to be strong and long in an odd position. Beautiful. Hands come to the earth or blocks. We step back to all fours. Move the blocks out of the way. Keep our knees hip distance apart. And as we exhale, we settle back to child's pose. Good. As we inhale, we come forward to a kneeling plank. So our hips come forward, but they don't sag. They're in line with our shoulders and our knees. Heart draws forward. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, kneeling plank. One more. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhale, child's pose. Spread the knees nice and wide. Let the body melt between the thighs. Rest down. Breathe here for a moment. Feel the body. Feel the earth underneath you. Anchor to the breath. Good, and we come back up to all fours. Walk the knees in so they're hip distance. And when we're ready, we'll bring that left foot forward between the hands. Grab those blocks. Sink the hips. And let me say, if you don't need the blocks, don't use them. I like to use the blocks because they give me a little bit of space. It feels good in my body. So we're coming back to this lunge and we're just taking little pulses, inhaling out of it. Exhale, sinking in. Inhale, release. Exhale, sink. Couple more on your own time with your own breath. One more, just like this. Good. Find the spot in between those two extremes and then bring our hands to that front thigh. Exhale, sink the hips back in. Lift the heart, drop the shoulders. We'll take that twist again. So now it's my right hand that comes outside the front knee. Palm faces away. Left hand to my hip. And as I exhale, I twist in that direction and I look over my left shoulder. So we're looking back. Keep the breath moving. Beautiful. Come back to center, hands to the heart, bringing us to the present. The heart is that place of truth. Feel the breath in that space. And then exhale, release the hands to the floor of the block. Straighten that left leg, lift the toes. Good. Flare the sit bones. Press through the heel. And then we fold over that straight leg. Breathe right here. Notice how easy it is to hold your breath in these places of intensity, right? When my stretch goes deeper and it feels intense, the thing I focus on most is my breath, not anything else. Good. Rise back up. Walk the foot wide and to the left. Hands come inside that front leg. And again, we flare the sit bones, lift the toes, keep that left leg straight-ish, and we fold straight down the middle. So this gives us a little bit different stretch in the hamstrings. One more breath. Good, and then we come forward. Keep that leg wide. Turn the toes open. Sink the hips forward. So I have to adjust just about everything here. Option to just stay here. Keep the heart lifted. Turn the toes slightly open. Maybe the hands come to the earth so we can get a little deeper into the hips. Or maybe we bring our forearms to the blocks. Each side is different. So just because we did something on one side doesn't mean we do it on the other side. And again, think about length here. Find the breath. Good. Gently come back up. Bring ourselves back to hands and knees. Move the blocks out of the way. And again, we settle back into child's pose, just like we did before. Inhale forward to our kneeling plank. Maybe this time we let the hips sag a little bit and take a back bend, a supported up dog. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, kneeling plank. Or supported up dog. One more, whatever this is for you. Slow, steady movements here, my friends. And we'll meet in child's pose with our knees nice and wide, big toes touching, hips coming back, forehead to the earth. Finding our breath here. Letting the body soften again. Letting the body grow heavy again. On our next inhale, we'll rise up to sit on our heels. And I invite you to take a block between the feet to sit on if that feels better to your body. If this doesn't feel good, you have two options. Come to a tall kneel or come to an easy seated pose. So those are both really great options for where we're going next. To begin with, I want us to just inhale our arms overhead and we'll side bend to the right. So roll the heart open, gaze lifts. Let the hips slide a little bit to the left. Find the breath. Inhale back to center, arms reach overhead, fingertips touch. And then as we exhale, we side bend the opposite way. Gaze looks to the sky, hips press to the right. And we'll take this into a flow, inhaling to center, exhaling to side bend. Inhaling to center, exhaling to side bend. One more in both directions. Slow and steady here. Calling in that steady, earth-focused Taurus energy. And then we meet with our hands at our heart. Option to continue doing that, but we have another version that gives us a little bit more expansiveness. And we start in a tall kneel, so the block can stay there. As we exhale, we'll reach back to the right and our left arm reaches up. So we're taking a twist into the side bend. Inhale here in the side bend. And as we exhale, this top hand sweeps down and around and we switch it. So now we side bend to the left. Exhale down and around. My hips come towards my heels. Inhale, rise up. So I call this dancing camel. Exhale down and around. Inhale, lift. Just a couple more of whatever version you choose that feels good to your body. About one more on each side. And we'll meet at center seated with our palms resting face up on our lap. Walk the shoulders out of our ears. Close our eyes for just a moment. Breathe. Good. Remove that block or prop from behind you. And this is going to be a little bit of a fun move. So tuck the toes, press the palms into the earth. And I want us to come to a squat. So you see how I did that? I just kind of pushed myself over my feet. That doesn't work for you. Make your way to a forward fold and then come into a squat. So while we're here, I want to work my big toes towards each other. Yep, so let me do it one more time from the front. So here I am, toes are tucked on my knees. I press up and back. Then when we get there, our knees are going to spread wide. My heels are still lifted here. Good. I'm going to turn myself to the side again. As we exhale, we start to fold ourselves into our own lap. Our hips rock back as our head rocks forward. Moving into Malasana's garland pose, and it's as if we're draping a garland on ourselves. And find that sweet spot of balance between head and hips. If we're too top heavy, we fall forward. If we're too bottom heavy, we fall backwards. We want to find that sweet spot in the middle. If you are feeling like you want a little bit of a challenge, we can take our hands one at a time and rotate them in. So my thumb turns in and under, cupping my heels. And eventually you get both hands and you can stand on your own hands. You decide where you want to be. 2 more breaths wherever you are. Good, and then lift the head, plant the hands, straighten the legs. I want us to stay in a forward fold. Walk the feet wider than hip distance. Maybe grab opposite elbows, but definitely rock side to side or make a rainbow around your feet. Shake out the head and neck here. Beautiful. Come back to center in a forward fold. And grab one of those blocks. Set it behind you. We're moving into a yogic squat, a traditional yogic squat, but I want us all to sit on a block. So feet come wider than hip distance, toes out, heels in, and we just bend our knees and sit down on that block. Adjust your feet, hands come to the heart. Arms and legs press into each other. Feel the soles of the feet on the earth. Yes. Breathe. Think back over the last 2 years. This cycle, this eclipse and this full moon are linked to November of 2021. We are bringing closure, completion, endings, death to those things that were alive and active and started in November of 2021. It's time to put them to bed, to say goodbye, to release, and to invite in new, to open the next chapter, to start a new cycle. Beautiful. Let's release and make our way onto our backs. All the way down, my friends. When we get there, draw the knees into the chest and just move around for a moment. Massaging out that lower back. And then hug the knees into the chest. Option to just stay here or to go a little deeper, reaching for the soles of the feet as we bring our head and shoulders off of the earth. Press the feet into the hands and the hands into the feet. Curl up into a teeny tiny ball. And then inhale, straighten and stretch it all out. Exhale, hug in again. Maybe we squeeze ourselves into that teeny tiny ball. Inhale, roll it open. Stretch long. Exhale, hug it in. Beautiful. Last one. Full body stretch. And then hug the knees in one more. Keep the head and shoulders on the earth. Move the legs around. And let's roll to our sides. This may be where you grab that blanket or pillow. And I'm just going to roll this blanket up. My bottom leg, it doesn't matter what side because we're going to go to both, is going to be long. This blanket is going to curl up into my chest and I'm going to lay on it. This top leg is going to just bend to the side. So I want pressure on my chest, pressure on my belly, right at my center. And let my head rest on my arm. Or maybe you take another pillow, whatever feels good. We're just going to take a minute here, feeling our body grow heavy again, reconnecting with gravity. Make any adjustments so that you feel completely comfortable. This is not a pose that you should work at. This is a pose that you can rest in. If I said we would be here for 10 minutes and you could fall asleep, you'd be like, hallelujah, I'm there for it. Notice what walks into your realm of awareness in these moments of stillness. Pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to what you notice, how you feel. Work to detach, to not have any judgment or attachment to anything that arises, but just notice, observe. And then with as little effort as necessary, take your blanket with you. We'll roll to the other side. So just hug it into your belly and your chest again. Top leg bends and we roll onto the blanket just a little bit. Bottom leg is straight. Like a pillow with your hand on your arm or with another blanket. Just get comfortable again. Settle in. Close your eyes, soften your gaze, and let your awareness just simply float. Just another moment here. Listening to the rhythm of your breath, the beating of your heart. And then with as little effort as necessary, roll onto your back. I invite you to put something underneath your knees, something underneath your head. And I would love for you to put something on your chest so that blanket can just carry with you. So we have heaviness on our core, on our center. Arms can release wherever they want to be. Tuck the chin just slightly. Check in with that neck. Make sure it's long. Check in with that lower back. Make sure it feels supported. And we settle into Shavasana, into our final rest. Maybe we take a couple of exhales through the mouth. Maybe we take a little wiggle to get all of the shakes out. And then we simply release everything, including our awareness. Resting down for a moment. If you would like, you are welcome to remain in Shavasana for as long as you would like, enjoying this rest, enjoying this release, this integration and manifestation time. If you are ready to move off of your mat, slowly put movement in. Taking your time, gradually moving more and more of your body as we return to this present moment, to your body on the earth. And when we are ready, we'll make our way to a comfortable seated position. Eyes remain closed, focus inwards. Palms pressed in front of our heart. Lift our heart to meet our hands. We'll take a breath in and out. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within guide your way on. Happy manifesting, happy releasing. Namaste.